It's one thing to be on the outside and for anyone to tour the land and to talk about the glorious things or the things that they've seen. But the reality is that when you live in the land and you're a citizen of the land, it is very much a different story. We call it boots on the ground. And these women, you have been very faithful to the Lord in all of the years that you've worked for him here. With that, I really believe that the people of the nations, or those who come and visit here, need to hear your voice, and they need to hear the things that truly, really happen here. When that curtain lifts up and you see the truth of what happens in the land, for me, it's a beautiful one. Mm-hmm. But you see the pain and you see the victories, you see the labor and you see the fruit, you see it all. And it's been an incredible honor to actually see your fruit.
Let me start off by simply saying the pain here actually is really real. And we as mothers, we carry that and we connect with the people that we disciple, the people that we invest in, and the people of our nations. And when they're in pain, we feel it too. And I've never felt that pain go more deeply for me personally than when I've entered Bethlehem and when I've worked in Bethlehem. I feel not only do you see it on the surface in the body of Christ and in the people that live there, but you see it also in the deep roots of Bethlehem scripturally. Just even look at the story of when Herod came and killed all the babies in Bethlehem.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And then it says a voice was heard in Ramah, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted. That verse was said about Bethlehem, of this great cry, this great pain that is coming forth. And that pain goes deep in Bethlehem. And we see it again with Naomi, when Naomi comes and she refused the welcoming of the women as they tried to welcome and embrace her. And she's like, no, I'm Mara. Don't call me Naomi. David himself, when his child died, he said, I refuse to be comforted. That sense of,
wow, I
will not forget. And that's a slogan that we as Arabs carry. We put it on our posters. La nansa, we will not forget. It's a stand that we take.
Wow.
We will not forget the pain of our children. And we as people that are ministering to those broken people, we have to go to that place of pain where they are at in order to reach them. And you work with women in the nation from the north and in the whole nation. I don't know what it's like for you, Rania, what you see.
Yeah, I see definitely there is this pain of, the deep pain of our people. Mm-hmm. But it goes deeper into this place of the feeling of rejection and that comes with that, Mm-hmm. But most of us witness that with the gatherings with women that the Lord has allowed me to bring together. The Lord began, to show me that Arab women need to rise up into their place, right? So that they can become like this weapon in the hand of the Lord and to be victorious, to be these warriors, so that they can rise up into this place of motherhood. Because how a woman could really come to this place of maturity to be a mother, to nurture others, right? But instead, we've very much suffered of this orphanhood, I would say, this orphan spirit that is there in our people, right? And in fact, it's also in other people. It's not just only in the Arab, but it's there. It's deep there. With these conferences that the Lord has given me to gather, and part of us, Priscilla was with us also, Hermana was with us with this. We've seen how the Lord began to heal the Arab women, bring them back into their destiny, to be released to their destiny, their identity also, With that, the Lord has allowed me to also have beautiful relationship with other Jewish sisters who we began to invite. So they became part of this, not only the Arab, right? And it's my joy always, has been always my joy to see unity coming forth through this gathering, yes? But beyond that, also as these precious Jewish mothers like Chaya and others that also began to come. And later on also as I began to walk, we walked this journey together with Ruth and Naomi. I got to meet Orna, and I felt like really I found a precious sister in the Lord here and a friend that we could walk together. So I invited her, you became with us, you remember the first conference was 2018. You came to be with us. You
Yes.
served with the Arab women. There was beautiful stories of several women coming to me saying, Rania,
I
Orna,
prayed with them.
prayed with them. Healing happened, forgiveness happened.
Yeah.
Not on a Jewish Arab part, but really personal healings happened in their hearts. So all of this, I believe, has brought a beautiful fruit with Jewish and Arab coming together. You know, the last year I felt like the Lord is asking us to come together as mothers in the land,
That's right.
which is this, convergence of the
Yeah,
two.
beautiful.
I feel like the two movements, where Chaya Mizrahi has been
Do you
doing.
mean young mothers? Do you mean mothers that have little toddlers or
No, talk about spiritual mothers.
grandmothers?
call
Mothers and
them
grandmothers.
mothers.
Okay, mature.
Yes, mature
Okay.
mothers. We talk about women who have an influence
Okay.
in the land of
Discipling.
Israel,
Mm.
who are spiritual mothers. Of course, they can be also natural mothers.
Yeah.
But mainly we're focusing on spiritual mothers. And so we gathered and we brought together, and Orna was with us in the team planning for this
Wow.
conference also.
Yeah.
And there was one very precious part, I would say one of beautiful highlights of this gathering, talking about Ruth and Naomi, where we felt like, okay, how about, could we really take, let's say, a courageous step of standing both facing each other as mothers and really come out of the heart? Are we ready to do this, where we can speak to each other these words of commitment and covenant as Ruth spoke to Naomi, and Naomi, of course, also always encouraged Ruth as her daughter, right? Spoke to her as her daughter. And we stood 2 rows, each mother facing each other, and what we did were very simple. The Arab mothers actually gave a necklace to the Jewish mothers, and the necklace is from this one. Okay, where you go, I will go. Okay, and so basically it's Ruth 1:16. So they gave this necklace and they put it on the neck of each Jewish mother, and they told her, your people are my people, your God is my God.
Wow.
So they did this covenant together. But in the other side, the Jewish mother thought, okay, how can we respond to this? The most appropriate way for the Jewish mothers, Naomi, in this moment, is to take a scarf. They brought a scarf representing basically that verse from Ruth 2:12, where the mothers of Israel said to the Arab, the Jewish mothers said to
The
the Arab.
story, it's Boaz telling Ruth.
Boaz telling
We
Ruth.
wanted to tell them that, yeah.
Exactly. And Orna actually has suggested that this would be the best way we can speak this over the Arab mothers. And remember the verse, Orna, may the Lord reward your labor, whom you have come to find shelter under the shadow of the God of Israel.
And then they covered us with the scarves.
So then they came and they covered us with the scarf.
Wow.
Okay, and in that story, that perfect moment, was a lot of praying, weeping each other, a lot of deep moments of mothers, both mothers from the two nations, coming together in this moment.
That's
And
a
as
great example.
it was very powerful moment, it was very genuine. This prophetic act, the Jewish mother said, I remember Chaya saying these words to us. And she said, we as Jewish mamas,
Yeah.
we Jewish mothers, mama is a big word for us, is an important word for us. And Naomi always called Ruth my daughter.
Oh.
So we want to say to you, you are part of our family, you are part of us. And we desire you, we want you to be part of us.
That's sweet.
So what they did, basically what Chaya did and Orna did, because Orna was also reading and declaring that over us, they were actually lifting up Ruth. They were lifting up and bringing up the Arab people to their place of dignity as
Yes.
Ruth being an Arab Ruth in this moment, right? They were blessing us in such
I remember during the end of the conference, Arab women, some were nursing, or they missed that point, and they were picking up a scarf from the bowl, from the basket, and insisting that one of the Jewish mothers, oh yeah, at least 3 came to me, and I saw others. They knew, they wanted to hear that, not just to take a scarf because they didn't get a scarf. It was very real for them, especially the young girls. Yeah.
You know, there's been lots of reconciliation efforts over the last 100 years, okay, in this land. And up until about just 10 years ago, I think the majority of anything I was a part of, up until about 10 years ago, it was always on this kind of your level, my level, and I'll do to you if you do to me, and as long as I have this much of a platform, you have that. I mean, with that spirit. So like, for example, we come together for a worship day. Okay, if we sing 3 Arabic songs, we'll sing 3 Hebrew songs. If we pray once in Arabic, now someone has to pray in Hebrew. If we read 2 scriptures in Hebrew, we have to read 2 in Arabic.
So the main thing is not to offend.
The main thing is that everyone is happy. The main thing is that we keep it all balanced. One thing would happen in Gaza, or something would happen anywhere else, exactly. You know, or a terrorist attack happen here, or something, and it's just tipped, and you'd never know there was any kind of prayer efforts, any type of worship times together. You'd never know. And it's because the relationship has to be at a completely different level. It has to be at the level of Ruth, where she just, you know, she gave up her right to just be an individual when she bound herself to Naomi and said, I will go wherever you go. I've come just a little bit, I feel, to know what that commitment takes as a Ruth myself who's been bound to the Arab culture. I'm American originally. My parents came from the US, but I grew up in this culture, and I chose to be part of this culture and bind myself to this culture. I chose to become a Ruth to the Arab culture, and I married not just my Arab husband, I married the Arab people. I married the Arab lands. I married the Arab culture. And it is not something simple. It's not where you come in and like, okay, you know, make sure I rub your shoulder. It's a relationship where it's a relationship of complete surrender, where I cannot bring up my Americanness anymore. I can't bring up, well, yeah, but in my culture we do it this way, but I'm used to this, but my parents taught me like that. That it's all thrown out the window. I have come in a new relationship, a new stand where I'm ready to just lay it all down. And we both have to be willing to do that.
That's amazing.
And it changes it. It changes the relationship.
But Orna, you told a story of when you was teaching forgiveness, that there were some professional people among the Arabs that came to you.
Some of them are professionals. They work with very broken families, and they realized this is a tool they would like to learn how to use, and opened a place for me to get into their culture legally, officially, you know, through the system, which is so interesting because in the Jewish population, I don't have access to the social welfare or to prisons, or I would love to do that as a mama. Just because I have such a part of my calling is to go to a wounded heart. I think that's how God teaches me about a wounded heart of a nation. And because I've seen wounded hearts healed, I believe for national wounded hearts. I was so surprised to see how easy and tender it is to touch an Arab woman's heart. Because with the Jews, we first need to teach them, to explain to them. They have to get it. It has to be biblically based. And then you get to the heart. The mind is so strong on the way to the heart. I'm generalizing here, but with the little experience I have with the Arab women and the young adults, I don't have to go through that. I just have to go past the rejection. And you do that by a hug. It's very simple. Then later you can start explaining, you know. It's challenging for me, by the way, because it wakens up with it. That's what happened this journey. I'm crossing over inside myself. And it is so precious to touch these hearts from there. And I want to remind all of us of 2 more fruits of this journey. One of them is the love revolution, where we went, a few Arab and Jewish women, to the streets of Jerusalem and just gave people roses and said, we are Jewish and Arab women, and we want to tell you We can do it differently. There's another way to do that. And the reactions. We have so many stories about that. And the other thing...
Jesra was with us too, huh?
Yes.
And we always made sure that an Arab woman was giving it to a Jew and a Jewish woman was giving it to an Arab, and the shock.
They couldn't contain it, yeah. Another thing is what we're doing with another big Jewish mama, Mariana. And we're going to strategic places around the land and praying together as Jews and Arabs, repenting in junctions in our history.
One thing that it brings me back to is Isaiah 19, where it says in verse 23, it says, "In that day there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians will come into Egypt, and the Egyptians into Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. In that day Israel will be the third party, with Egypt and Assyria blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of hosts has blessed, saying, Blessed is Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance." And I believe with all of my heart this work that you all are doing and that we are doing around the world is establishing the living room of the nations. This place right here, the Isaiah 19, the work that you're doing, Rania, the work that you're doing, Orna, Hermana, Jessra, and all the others in this land, in Jordan, in the Middle Eastern nations. So much work is going on in the Middle Eastern nations right now to restore the land, the entire family of Abraham.
That's right.
It's happening everywhere in these lands. And even internationally, 20 years ago when we would mention the Arab nations, everybody would say, what, where?
Yeah.
Where? Jordan? Do you mean Georgia? No, I mean Jordan. Where's that? But now, over the last year, I have heard the words of the Middle Eastern nations and Israel and the people of the land more than I have in my entire life. That tells you that the Lord has opened up the gate for this to take place.
We had a lot of fun and challenge as we were going through it, and going through it again to record it for you. I want to invite you to open your heart to that Messiah if you don't know him yet, and to join us at the living room of the nations. Because as you can tell, it's an adventure worth living. And I want to bless you in Yeshua's name, and my sisters, how good and pleasant it is for sisters to dwell together, and brothers as well. So we bless you in the name of Yeshua, the name of Jesus, the name of Yeshua,
Yeshua.
the Messiah.
Yeshua, Messiah.